What's up, pretty gang? It's your favorite nail tech Peaches, back with another video, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to do enhancements on very teeny tiny toes. This is more common than what you think, and you can also get a really pretty result without having to struggle too much. I apologize, I've been kind of here and there. This month has been very hard for me video wise. I've been dealing with a lot of things, especially just honestly being tired. I apologize, I'm so sorry. Before we get into everything, be sure you guys check the link below, description for coupon codes, Amazon storefront. Follow me on social media, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so I mentioned a little bit about I'm so tired. I've mentioned in videos previously that dealing with a health issue. I was put on a medication. You guys have to take it 4 times a day, and a side effect is sleepiness. So you can pretty much imagine nowadays, if I'm not at work, I'm honestly asleep. And so I'm kind of just trying to find a balance from being tired. I literally just woke up from a nap on my way to work right now. So that's kind of a little bit about what I'm mainly dealing with. So this color is called, I want to say Pink Sugar something by Not Polish. And smaller toenails, right? You have this feeling of like, wow, how am I going to elongate them? How am I going to make them look good? Now you see I'm knocking this one big toe out with one bead, and I honestly recommend this if you have the proper acrylic control, because it's going to make your life a lot easier, especially if you're not really lengthening anything. Then you won't need too much more than this one bead, maybe a couple here and there to like fill in any gaps. But you see the texture of this bead? The texture and the consistency is going to be your best friend. So if you have poor acrylic control, I suggest you work on that, because a lot of times that can solve your problem. So because the big toe is still, even though it's small, it's still bigger than the rest, you just go about that as normally, because this isn't any sort of reconstruction or anything like that. This is just a client who has tiny toenails. So while we're kind of just watching the big toe get done, I'm going to talk a little bit about, some other helpful tips. So it's going to look like these are flooded in the cuticle areas. And this client, it's hard to see, but she does have like kind of deep set cuticle area. So not only does she have small toenails, but the way her cuticle area is, it's kind of, as you can kind of see, the skin kind of not bulges, but I don't really quite know how to explain that right now, but you have to kind of push it back a little deeper than what you normally would, because if you don't, it's going to look grown out very quickly, or as soon as you file, it's going to look like you did not get close enough. So although it looks flooded, I promise you it's not. There's just, on some people, there's certain steps we have to take to ensure that it will last during the filing and shaping stage. Now, there are all types of reasons why clients have small toenails. This client, this is just how her nail beds are, like they're just small. Some people, it might be toenails that are often broken down. So for example, if your client can grow toenails, right, and there might be a lot of free edge, but just not a lot of actual space beyond that. Do you see what I'm saying? So regardless, you're gonna have to learn how to deal with these toenails. Holding the nail, like holding the actual toe, is gonna help you a lot too, because once you learn how to navigate holding toes, it's gonna be a lot easier to like manipulate the acrylic as well, because that just takes an extra layer of stress off. I actually want to do a video about like navigating feet and how to get comfortable with feet, because I feel like a lot of people just think feet is so gross, or people have trouble holding toes, because toes are a different ball game than fingers. Okay, so you can see we're pretty much getting done with the big toe, and we're not gonna extend it or anything like that. We're gonna keep it like that. Okay, so again, I'm gonna show you the consistency is gonna be key here. Now, you're also gonna want to try and get these done in one bead, even the small ones, because if you don't have enough product, that product is pretty much just gonna break off. So you can see it looks like I'm struggling putting it on there, but in reality, I want to keep it dried out, because once I put it down, the acrylic is still gonna spread, because yes, I did dry it out, but I did not completely dry it out to where it's not going to move at all. I kind of have it to a consistency where I can shape and mold it kind of like clay or putty or something like that. And so you want this type of bead right? A larger bead, because you want the product to be able to gather up enough so that way when you move it around, it doesn't just fall off the free edge and break off. So you can see I'm like tucking and pushing everything. We are not going to be lengthening these very long at all. We're pretty much sticking with the same length in a way, but because we have acrylic here and we can control how it looks, it just makes the toenail appear larger. And so like it's not so teeny tiny and small, which is what a lot of clients want when they are like facing this type of issue. There's a lot of clients who have small toenails that are really self-conscious about it, and they just feel like they're shaped weird, or you know, some people have toenails that are like more rectangular, so it appears to be more of a sliver, and it just kind of makes people's day when you're able to kind of do this. So I don't mind. So you can see here, I'm making sure everything is nice and neat. This is going to help with shaping and everything like that, because I'm basically shaping it now with my brush, so that way I have less work later, especially like I said, the toenails are very small and it can be difficult getting in there, trying to make them nice and crispy when you don't have a lot of space to work. So again, we're using a larger bead, and considering how small the toenail is, we're using a bead that is going to be slightly larger so we have place to manipulate and move it. Now this is what I was saying, right? I didn't get quite enough product on this toenail, and now that I'm trying to do some sort of lengthening to it, you can see the free edge area, it kind of just wants to fall off basically, and that's because there's not enough acrylic there to be able to, for me to pull down to create, you know, more of a longer free edge, and it looks like it's going to want to break. You see how there's like a line in the acrylic there? I'm pushing it. That's why you keep seeing me push it back, because I need that acrylic to gather up so that way it can provide the right type of strength, so that way I can continue molding and building. So if you have this problem to where the toenail is like, if you feel like it's not cooperating or you didn't use enough acrylic, shape what you have and then just add a little bit more acrylic to it. You're gonna need it to become a little stiffer, like I am here, but if you're uncomfortable with that and you don't know how to, you know, kind of fix the mistake or work with it, I would just say off top, add a little bit more acrylic so you have a little bit more to work with. Now I knew I wasn't going to be lengthening these too much, so I was like, you know what, it's fine if it's a little shorter, because they're all gonna end up a little shorter at the end anyway. So you can see I just added a little bit of acrylic right where that breakage would be, and I'm pushing it forward a little bit so that way I have room to play with the acrylic and move it around as needed. So this is why I say acrylic control and getting your beads to be like playing around with consistencies makes it a lot easier for a lot of different things, because there are times where you need something wetter and there's times where you need something more dry. They all serve a purpose, of course. So to start getting more comfortable with that, I will say that you guys, I'm so sorry. Like I said, I know it's like only 10 in the morning, and I did wake up from a nap, which sounds crazy because like I already taken a nap at 10 a.m. but I woke up at like 8 or something like that. So I'm sorry, my brain, I'm not all the way together, you guys. I'm not all the way here. I'm sorry. Shoot. Anyways, once again, here you can see it looks like I'm putting way too much product, but I'm not. I'm putting the right amount for it to be able to be like a solid and strong enough enhancement so I can move the acrylic around as needed. Now, like I said, I know it's gonna look like the cuticle areas and stuff are flooded. I promise they're not. I'm gonna insert a clip of me filing around the cuticles and stuff like that, because just to show you guys that nothing's flooded, everything's fine, and even if you do slightly flood the cuticles, it can still be fixed. It's okay. We're just gonna keep in mind that we want this to look natural, so we also want to beware of using too much acrylic, because we don't want them to look too thick and we don't want them to be too bulbous or bulky. So you can see me going on the sides and kind of like cleaning up the sides, just making sure the whole see how right there, the whole entire enhancement is basically shaped and together, because if we don't do this, then we risk the toenails We wish the toenails basically looking like we colored outside the coloring lines, as I like to call it. So it will look like they're very, very thick and bulbous, and it will take away from, number one, the longevity, but number two, the overall look of the person's foot, because then it will start to look disproportionate. So here we go. Once again, like I said, if you get any of that cracking, or you feel like, hey, I didn't have enough product, just go ahead and add a little bit more. As long as you have control over how much product you are using, you're fine. So the pinky toe, sometimes that can be difficult, because even if the other ones are small, sometimes the pinky toenail can be even smaller. In this case, it's not really smaller, but I didn't use as much product as needed, and so when I'm spreading the acrylic around and stuff, you can see that the product is thinning out quite a bit, and I have to go in and make sure everything's good, like for like color's sake and stuff like that. But yeah, just keep in mind, I know the pinky can be hard. I don't typically lengthen the pinky too much, because that's a toenail that people typically have problems with. Like, you know, that's one of the ones that is typically smaller, so sometimes it's hard to shape or finish file. It's like a toenail that people typically might kick or hit, or it comes off sometimes, just depending on each individual person. But that's why I don't really care to lengthen it too much. You guys can see I'm just more worried about the color payoff in this particular instance, and making sure that the enhancement is strong once again. So after this, I believe we're going to get into shaping and filing. Now, I'm not going to show you the entire, shaping and filing. I do have a bunch of acrylic toes videos on my channel already, and so we don't need to go into full detail like that, but you can see how much of a difference that the acrylic has made. Now, keep in mind that acrylic is not going to change the way your toenails grow. I had a client this week that actually was convinced that because she had previously put acrylic on her toenails, that it helped the way it grew, etc., and it changed the way it grew in a month. And you guys, that is incorrect. Remember, acrylic toes is purely aesthetic. There's nothing about them that's going to change how your nail grows, because your nail grows from the matrix and the mansole underneath the skin where we cannot see. So this is purely just a fix for aesthetics. I mean, I hate to keep repeating that, but that's all it's for. So if you're hoping that it's going to make your toenails, wider or grow a different way, it's not. Now, the only thing it can help with is when you're maintaining with your soak offs, is they will start to appear to grow in extremely square, but that's just because we're with the maintenance and shaping them and stuff like that. Your real toenails are underneath, so it's like we're always keeping your real toenails shaped up. But other than that, it doesn't change anything like that. So here you can see I'm filing, and I'm really using my e-file to help me a lot. You might see me use it to shape the toenail as well, and that's gonna help a lot when it comes to tiny toenails. See how I'm shaping the sides as well. You just want to make sure that you are doing your best to get into all the little crevices and stuff like that, because if you missed anything, or anything is slightly flooded, or just not done well, if there's little pockets where you can't see, they're gonna pop off or they're gonna chip, you know what I'm saying? So along with making sure they look nice, we want to make sure they last long. And smaller toenails, problems can arise if not done correctly, just from a nail tech standpoint. So here is our final look. I feel like it looks very natural, looks very nice. My client absolutely loved it. She was very happy with the results. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I apologize, I've been so here, there, everywhere. I'm trying to get it together, you guys. I'm just so tired, you guys. I don't even know how to explain the type of tired that I am. And of course, here is the final result. We're gonna oil her up, and I'll see you in the next video.